Yo, what's going on? Happy New Week. Happy holidays. Happy holiday to all my fellow country people doing their thing. Uh, happy holiday to all my people doing their thing. It's crazy, though. I ain't gonna lie. But what I mean is, happy holiday to all my Zimbabwean folk. Yeah. It was good though. I hope, I hope you had I hope you had a good weekend, filled with rest and all of that. Yeah, I definitely had some rest. Still did some work, of course, as per usual. Just making sure we do not have any. I don't have any, sensitive information on. So I want to make sure I don't have any sensitive information on the screen before I, before I share the entire screen. So good though. Yeah, let's get into it, right? A couple of things that I did over the weekend. Of course, I marked out the previous day values. Well, I marked out the previous week values. That's what we have over here. Let's just confirm that because I also did mark out the previous day values, but it seems like they didn't. Or did they? 9:30 to 5. Yeah. Okay, cool. So previous day value area low, 761.50. Previous day point of control, all sevens. Previous day value area high, 780.50. Previous week value area low. Let's just double check that. It's not how we do it. Weekly. Let's not make the same mistake I made the other week. Here we go. Okay, full profile. So yeah, because I think it was like 2 weeks ago, what I did is I marked out my weekly levels and then I hadn't zoomed into the chart. And so because I hadn't zoomed in, zoomed out, because I hadn't done that, the weekly only loaded up until that portion that could be shown on screen. So because of that, I ended up marking my weekly levels badly, but badly I mean wrongly. So 72525, that's your previous week value area low. 769.75, that's your previous week point of control. And 7813, that's your previous week value area high. Yeah. And then this profile that's developing, that's our developing weekly volume profile. Yeah. So We've opened inside the week's volume, inside the week's value, previous week's value. Now let's have a look at our daily. All right, let's have a look at the previous day. We haven't got the open yet, but probably the best way to have a look at this, honestly, is using the TPOs. So let's merge, let's remove all splits. All right, so we have an unmitigated point of control just above 777, and then another unmitigated point of control below at 737.75. So those are the two targets. I mean, obviously, it does look like that's the closest one. No unmitigated point of control at the top. So above this, so this does look like it could go. Also, could be a trade that we take. You know, we could trade from or trade towards. Just depends on our overnight value. Yeah, and we did rotate to account 2. So let me just show you guys that to account 1, which was the eval. And yeah, we're like pretty down bad. We're left with like $16 worth of drawdown. So just gonna consider that account pretty much done. You know, took too many hits on it. You know, so 2 minutes away from the open, we closed higher than the open on Friday, right? So that was open 757, closed at 773.50, roundabout. All right, so yeah, nothing else has changed. Didn't change anything. CVD still a CVD. Time of sales still a time of sales. Yeah, you know, time of sales is still a time of sales. So oops. You guys gonna see what I be watching. It's all good. And yes, I am Game of Thrones. Okay, cool. Just making sure the stream is working. That's all. I can close that tab now. Okay. Yeah, but what work did I do over the weekend? Let me show you. Oops. So I made this little wallpaper. It's called the trading wall. Yeah, just with hard rules, conviction trades to take, Dalton rules, percentage wins, all of that. Just something I can look at on a day-to-day basis. And I also made a where is it? Reports. Yeah, I also made a pre-session dashboard. So yeah, just stuff that I need to in consideration today, you know, well, not just today, but this week. Okay, so probability of ruin, depending on the type of trades that I take this week, probability of ruin. If I take off playbook trades, if I stop taking off playbook trades, and at the current rate that I'm going, you know, so it's kind of 50-50 right now. So I don't really like that percentage. So I do need to be a lot more disciplined. And set up by opening scenario, overnight point of control. We open above value, 100% win rate, right? 1 win, 0 losses. Open inside value, 90% win rate, 9 wins, 1 loss. Overnight value short, open above value, 100%. Open inside value, 25%. So OAV only. Yeah, so open above value only, never take overnight. overnight value area high, short on open inside value days. And yeah, and then Mondays 50% win rate when we open above value, open inside 67% win rate. So depending on the type of day that we have today, I just hit one of those things, and it tells me what setups are my best setups. And yeah, so just do a pre-session welfare thing together today. I slept all right. I did eat before. Do I have water? Yes. Emotional state. Yeah, I'm pretty focused. Slept adequately, ate before the session, water present if any of these are no, and apply A1 contract cap. Noted and applied. No. Identify today's opening scenario. Let's do that right now. No. Where did we open today? Let's look on the TPO. We opened inside value, right? Okay, you can see overnight value area highs over there. We opened inside value, so OIV day, all right? So inside value. So this is what we're going to be looking at: overnight point of control, long shorts, previous day point of controls, long Dalton shorts, overnight value area high shorts. Have to avoid those. 25% win rate. Right? IB long, just depends, right? And of course, no off playbook. So okay, name the setup today. I'm looking for must be a playbook setup. If you can't name it, you're not trading today. Cool. So we'll do that in just a bit. Name the stop level. We'll do that also. Name the target. We'll do that later. Set the alarm. So let's set the alarm for. I do need to change this. 15. Okay. So set that for 16:15. Contingency plan. If the setup doesn't trigger, I switch to. Okay, cool. So yeah, so I think so far so good. Man, winter's crazy here. There'd be mad flies. Just make sure. Let's get our overnight values right. So 6 p.m. to whatever time this is. Okay, so that's our overnight value area high. So we're gonna be looking at potentially shorting this if it present well. Today's not a day where we short this, so gonna have to avoid that. Overnight point of control down here. And overnight value area low. We don't take any. Well, I don't take any trades from here. This is mainly for context. It's only for context. So you know what I mean? Yeah. So this is purely for context. So we have everything we need now. Overnight value area low. I believe this is the previous week. Point of control. Overnight point of control. and I'm not entirely sure what this is or that. Yeah, previous day point of control, previous day value area high. So already some form of Dalton thing is played out here. Let's just lock the drawings and switch this to just the Globex and switch to 1 minute. Hey boss, they be mad flies here. I need to do something about that because that's kind of annoying me. All right. It's not even mad flies, it's like one. 1 sec, boss. All right, so yeah, so what was I saying? I was saying, look, we opened inside value. Does look like we are trying to play out a little Dalton trade already. So shorts from previous day value area high. Just depends on how we hold around overnight value area low, right? But does look like we could retest this. The previous week previous week point of control could hold, right? This could act as some form of resistance, right? As of support, not bad. But we shall see. This is what we're doing on the composite. Yeah, let's draw this out. Let's bring this close. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So it's the 13th, right? Yeah. So from the 13th, didn't really change our volume profile much, did it? At all, actually. Yeah, well, it did. Because we're not using the volume from the previous sessions, right? So, yeah. This is kind of where we're at. I think we are trying to retest that previous week point of control. And if we do, we manage to break through 770. We also have a little TPO in there, right? So we can break through that TPO. Yeah, I think if we can break through that TPO, we might go for 738s, so looking at how we hold below previous day, I guess that would be the trade, right? If we are to target the lower side of this, if we are to target this point of control, we would have to break this previous day value area also. All dependent on how we hold around the previous week point of control, overnight point of control, which is where we're at right now. We break through the overnight value area low. and then previous day value area low, right? So the lower parts of value are what, what's gonna determine how we react today, Yeah, I did that. Yeah, and I guess from here, so I mean, from here, our stops would have to go to the overnight value area low. Yeah, that's our short scenario. And yeah, what's our yeah, I guess 813s possibly could be a target as well. You know what I mean? So that's a long scenario, and that's if we break overnight value. But yeah. Give me a shout. Give me a shout if you're watching live right now. Let me know you're here. Mm-hmm. Force operating in the country, which is armed and eliminating people. What's this? Where am I? Both material lands, north and south. Oh no. That's better. Okay, cool. Did mess that up a little, but back to the trading. Yeah, overnight point of control held. See what we got around that area. 772. I mean, strong prints from 7075 did, I guess, around 7073 to try to short that, but buyers stepped in at 76. So this could be a an area to long from, right? This could be an area to long from. So again, let's just confirm in our in our little pre-session thing. So we did open inside value, which I did confirm, and that's the preferred thing for the session, right? Okay, cool. So previous day point of control longs or overnight point of control trades, or Dalton shorts. So that's shorting previous day value area high. Yeah. So no overnight value trades, basically. No overnight value area high. Yeah, no overnight value area high trades. That's what I'm trying to say. Potentially, a lot of volume is building up here, which does make sense. I mean, previous day point of control, overnight point of control, previous week point of control, right? So 1544. Let's oops. Whoa, not with that size. Let's place a buy limit on place 1 right now. And the stop would have to go here. 1545. So valid time to place a trade. So you might have to just be a little patient for this one. So I do think if we can get a retest of this, which has happened, we have seen some form of weakness, right, a couple of times already. So let's just wait and see if we get tagged in. If we can get the retest. Is it in the playbook? Yes, it is. Previous day point of control. Wow, overnight point of control. Yeah. Yeah. My batteries. My charger's not connected. 1 second. Oops, here we go. We are below view app, so I mean, I don't know what that, whether that's gonna hold for a very long time or not. $783. Yeah. If we miss this, we could wait to see if we get a retest of 786s. Here's our previous day point of control. You know, yeah, the scaling have to be very smart, because if I wait for a, if I shift this higher, still, how many points is that? It's 5. Yeah, so I mean, previous day point of control long could still be valid. It could fail here though. It could fail at 780. That's a possibility. Okay, let's see how this breaks. Depending on how it breaks and how it closes, we could add here, right? Not add, but I mean, place our entry at the point of control. Didn't want to just like move it up just based off that impulse move, right? But if we do close above previous day point of control, then I would be interested in longing from 777s, right? But where we are right now still is valid, I think. Just depends on how we close here. Yeah, not really the best close, yeah. But could have been the entry. This could be the retest, honestly. Let's just wait. I'll put a stop at the overnight value area low. Let's see if we get a retest of, oh shit. Excuse my language, but goddamn. But I did say we could, react violently from that. I did kind of call it. So, this is gonna be a Dalton short. Yeah, could be, potentially could be a Dalton short, seeing as we did there. So if overnight point of control doesn't hold, if the previous week doesn't hold, and then then we are going to unfortunately. Also, what sucks is that like our entry was here, so we could have been a little patient, maybe. But yeah, we do have buys at 780.50, so that's right at the point of control. Let's see, the overnight point of control held. So I mean, if we do break through that, I mean, if we break through by that, I mean, if we break through the overnight point of control, and then, and then that's gonna be target, right? This is the invalidation point of our trade. But seeing as we don't really have size, if we start seeing like weakness around here, we will have to close it, because why would we hold on? All right, I think what do we want to add? No honesty. We could add above 780, or we could add above the high. I think we'll add at 786. Let's wait and see. Let's watch this because not in the not on the green yet. You know what I mean? Overnight point of control again. 15:55. So we have about 20 minutes before we have to close this trade out. But we are above VWAP now, and above VWAP, above point of controls, above previous week point of control, above the overnight point of control, just below previous day value area high. So again, we start seeing strength around 780s. Cool. You know, would be expecting expansion. That's why I'm adding from overnight value area high. Could be a little brave and add 2 contracts, but would be plenty for the day if we can get it. You know, and I mean, we also could add above the previous day value area high, but look, we don't have previous day value area high over here, all right? Don't have it here. We have a Dalton short, so this would kind of be a counter trade. The overnight value area high shorts are 25% win rates. So I'm not doing a short, I'm doing a long from overnight value area high as an addition. So I'm doing essentially the 3L, right? I'm doing the other side of that trade, you know, which is instead of shorting here, since we opened inside value, going long from there, and then targeting previous week value, right? Which is not, it's not like a guarantee. As I'm saying, like we could Dalton short from here, we could short and play other side of value. Right? But if we see strength above the previous day value area high, cool. Kind of seeing that now. Maybe 6, 770, 86 to 78, 78. Yeah, it would. Our risk would have to be at that point. Risk would have to go to previous week point of control. If we do get in from here. Yeah, letting go of the 780s. I don't really like how this looks. 269 accumulated, 118, 191, 269, and pretty sizable, you know, pretty huge size. You know, so yeah, really could have waited for the overnight point of control. But I mean, how do you know you're gonna get a big spike up like that, right? It's no real way of knowing. So yeah, so I guess like our test now is gonna come from the overnight, not now, but I mean, every time I say like our test now is gonna, I'm not saying that whether the trade is valid or not. Our trade has been valid, right? If we had size, we could have waited for the 770s and we could have been out around about here, around about even around the previous day value area high for a solid 10 points, right? So you're looking at about 250, which would have been a good trade, right? With a contract size of 5. I just don't have the size right now for me to be able to risk that, you know. So pretty good trade if you take it from there, right? And here's our retest of previous day value area high. We can break this high. Great. We already broke the high of the session, right? We already broke session high, and we are in B prints. So let's split the profile. Okay, so that's our tail. All right. Save some money. Put our stop right at the previous weak point of control, which is also the bottom of the tail. And so will we be fine? Just depends on whether this is a trend day or not. All right, so that's what we'll do, right? So we've defined our risk. If we get tagged in there, our risk is now $160. Yeah. So $160 trade, essentially. Well, it's also going to depend on our average entry, right? It's going to depend on our average entry. You know, since we got in first entry went in here, if we get our second entry here, we'll just measure 16 points from there. But this is the one, it is an invalidation point. We will have reverse from overnight value, you know, and then, yeah, you know, so again, important to see that we hold above value area high. Yeah. Can hold above value area high. We're breaking outside of the previous day's value, right? Our target, even though it is kind of far, like the next logical target would be the previous week value area high. So one of them ones where little patience is going to be required. $796s, 800s, yeah. Also, wouldn't be bad if we get out in the 800s. We start hitting 800. Yeah, we had 800. We can, you know, just close the trade. You know, if we're still good. But yeah, pretty strong push in delta. Yeah, massive push up from here. Strong delta push. Yeah. Even from before that, we actually started seeing clues that we wanted to buy this up. Yeah. So here we go. If we get this entry, find where our average entry is, we'll measure out, you know what I mean? If I had, of course, if I had like size and stuff, so I'm not blaming the amount of size that I have, right? I am. It's not your fault. But if had I been a little more responsible earlier, right, we'd have a lot more room to trade with. But I have like very limited drawdown right now. So because of that, I need to consider my risk. I need to consider my risk parameters a lot more. Right? I need to manage my risk a lot cleaner. I can't YOLO trades. When I was doing the eval for this account, I was kind of YOLOing trades. It worked out, but in essence, those were YOLO trades. In the sense of big size, big size, 5 points, 5 contract, 16 point stop, $400 risk. You know what I mean? 1-1 with that, which would be this 1-1 would be $400. So I got through the eval pretty quickly. And then also now because I was building size, so I get 400, $800 on maybe on one day. Like this could be like $1,000 day. Excuse me, if I had like, as I'm saying, more size. But it's just a fact of like, if I was to enter with another 5 contracts here, this reversing back to the previous week point of control would be $400, and that would lose us the account. So there's no need to do that if I can build the account bit by bit. If I can just get back to, first I need to get this out of this drawdown. So I just need to be patient. And like the numbers add up. So for example, $200 over 5 days is $1,000. Yeah, cool. It took me a week to get to $1,000, but that's a lot of money. If I had $1,000 right now, like right here is cash, and we counted it, you'd see it. You know what I'm saying? $1,000 is a lot. It's just that like it doesn't feel like it's a lot when you're just like looking at numbers on the screen, but it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. In places like where I'm from, that's 6 months worth of rent, out of rent, but I mean, that's like 6 months salary. For some people, 10. So yeah. But yeah, gotta watch this carefully now and just 786s. We'll see how we start printing around here. We are starting to print a lot of red prints, right? 785s. So we are trying to sell this. There are people trying to sell this. And we also do run the risk that we get tagged in and we mean revert. So view app is all the way here. So we'll have to make a very quick decision as to if we do get tagged in, what are we doing? Are we gonna play IB? Are we gonna get out at initial balance once initial balance is set? Are we gonna continue the trend? Are we gonna ride the trend? So okay, look, our average entry is at 78,150. So yeah, so we're looking at $100. I'm okay with that. 110, 115. But now that we've got that overnight value area high, if this fails to break, overnight value area low, get me? So we do need to see the other side of this. Even worse if we start trading back inside previous day value. But we have the stats. We have the stats. Overnight value area, at least my overnight value area high shorts haven't been wins, haven't been successful. So, which doesn't mean that the market can't do whatever it wants to do, right? It just means that on my end, it just hasn't worked out. Okay, retest of overnight value area high. 786s basically need a hold. Okay, fantastic. We'll keep risk on, all right? And some saying, define the risk. This is where our stop is going to go. Previous week point of control. Yeah, you know, could be in for a bit of a trend day. We do have a tail. Our 100% of initial balance right now is 806. So, you know, but we do still have what, 19, another 19, 18 minutes.
The question is, was Burundi a genocide?
The 786. Need to hold 786, basically. Remember, here's the retest.
Against defenseless citizens. Of course, we talk about it as just crime, incidents, attacks, but these are actually crimes. The crimes
Okay.
were international crimes. What has never been done? People talk about people being burned in hearts, women being raped, people being killed, people disappearing. But
The eerie background music, I ain't gonna lie.
About categorizing what was Burundi.
You know, to know your history though. 786. Remember them saying we need to hold above 786s, right? We need to hold above overnight value. Because if overnight value high, you know, if overnight value high doesn't hold, then we could revert back, right? We could start coming back into towards the overnight point of control, you know. So let's wait and see. I do have a little confidence in the. I have a lot more confidence in the trade now, just based off like the tail, right? So we do have a buying tail over here. We opened over here, switched into the B's over here. So we are kind of trending a little higher, right? So I'm cool with that. You know, I'm fine with that. And our average position is over here in the 781.50s, right? It is just above the TPOC, right? It's just above the time point of control. Cool. We do also have an unmitigated point of control down here at 775, but that is of the current session, right? And then from ways back, I believe this is from Thursday. Yeah, another unmitigated point of control. So, you know, these could be magnets. Like this could be a magnet, that could be a magnet, you know, but I would like to see us trade towards the previous week point of control, which is our target. Right. So cool. So as long as we can hold above, I'm saying as long as we can hold above overnight value area high, cool. You know what I mean? So 788, 75. And again, another thing that I did say is that, like, you know, if you start get into the if you start getting into the 800s, you know, we might have to also consider exits roundabout then, you know, or at least start trailing responsibly. You know what I mean? It would suck if we get to like 799s and then we come all the way back down. You know. So I mean, that is another 10 points from here. So still, we still have some time to give that some consideration. Share your experiences with other people. My name is All right, look, so that's our alarm, right? 16:15, cool. So let's talk about how do we play the rest of this trade, right? We already have our risk set, right? Our risk is set at 115. 115 would hurt the account, right? It would set us back. So we could take what we have right now, right? So options: we take what we have right now, wait for initial balance, play initial balance out, or we maintain our risk where it is, keep it at previous week point of control, and then just monitor out, monitor our overnight values, right? Monitor our overnight values and just accept the risk, right? Accept the risk, accept the potential of the stock, because the upside, right, could really also benefit our account. Right? So this is a logical target. This isn't a make believe type of scenario, right? I'm not making this up, right? So um, this is a valid target. I will also say, once we set initial balance, how we react around initial balance in the next 15 minutes, 14, 13 and a half minutes, how we react around initial balance is also what's going to determine whether we stay in the trade or not, right? I would love to add into this position around initial balance, but I also feel like it's just adding a little more complexity to the trade, you know, which I don't want to do that right now. It's the first day of the week. Just like to get a clean start. Yeah, and again, I don't have I do not have the size, right? So over the next 13 minutes, we just wait for initial balance. Once initial balance is set, it does mean that we are going to have to watch C and D prints, potentially up to F prints, right? If we don't take our stop at IB, right? So IB right now is 792.25. So yeah, so that's what we're currently that's where we're at currently. So these are the scenarios. Accept the risk, accept that, like, yes, we could come back all the way down to previous week point of control and get stopped out. But then ride the trade all the way up, because this could be a trend day. That's scenario one. Or we take profit now, right? Because we are now approaching IB. So we could take profits right now, take it off. Just looking at the price, take it off at IB at 792.5, right? And then wait for an initial balance trade and then trade that. Yeah, those are the two situations we're looking at right now. So from the orb method, which is like the first 30 minutes, like the breakout from above is what kind of quote unquote determines the rest of the trend, whatever, right? So we are looking at above 784, but that's also just an arbitrary number. The most important thing, honestly, is the overnight value area high. If we stay above overnight value, then I think we're fine. Excuse me. If we stay above overnight value, then yeah, then we should be fine. It's if we start trading inside overnight value, right, which then starts to become a concern, because acceptance back inside overnight value doesn't mean that overnight value area low becomes a valid target, right, from that trade scenario, which could be the mean reversion trade that we could look into if IBH starts to fail. By IBH starts to fail, I mean we're seeing weakness at initial balance high, right, and we're not able to print higher. Right? We would have to get up. We would have to secure profits at that point. Right? And then watching what happens within that scenario. So, yeah. Give me a sec, guys. All right, what are you wasting? Yeah. Yeah, man. I think I think the trade is kind of healthy right now. Or did I just did I curse it? Yeah, moving. Delta is shifting. Massive drop in Delta though. So lots of selling attempts. 8850s, 8875s. 8870s, 8075s. Okay, so this is initial balance high now, right? Well, shifting initial balance. But 800s do look like they are on the cards. You know. Mm. But yeah, Prince. Also, again, I mean, if we look into the TPOs, if we're looking at the TPOs, right? If we're looking at the TPOs, you start printing below these Bs, man. The trend is dead. So we will allow it room, we will give it room to play out, right? Because as I said, 100 and something, 115 bucks is a lot, right? I mean, we don't have that much room, but it is within, at least it's a loss that I can swallow, right? That I can take. Pause. It's a loss that I can take. So yeah. But here we go. Overnight value area high. Let's throw this out. Let's put this up here. I have seen I did watch a couple of videos about closing out trades before the 10:30. You know what I mean? Because this does happen, right? I mean, if we were in full size from here, we would have got up, right? Of course. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think we would have been good. But yeah, as I'm saying, I have seen information around, getting out before the 10:30, and it's the reason why we have the alarm, right? Because why we have the alarm, so if we just causality for, just looking at causality for a trade to work or for a trade to not work out, right? Because this does happen. Right? So now we're getting the reversion, and we've seen this over the last 3 trading days. This would be the 4th, right? Where the first couple of days I set my alarm at 16:25, the trade started reversing around about 6:18, and then around 6:20, 6:21, whatever. And then I set my alarm for 6:18, for 6:20, and then the trade started moving around 6:18. And so, today, hence I'm going off at 6:15, right? So giving us a full 15 minutes for us to look at price and then make a decision, think level-headedly about okay, where's our stop? Where's our stop? Just make sure mic is on. Yeah, cool. Where's our stop? Can we accept the loss at where our stop is? Does it wreck us? Because again, trading without risk, I don't know how you do it. It basically would be wherever you enter, you just put your stop right there so that you don't take any L's, right? That you don't have any negative MAE, right? But there are things that are keeping this valid, there are things that are keeping this trade valid. So as long as like those things still hold, as long as we're outside overnight value, I think we're okay. All right. As long as we're above previous day value, we're okay. All right. So, okay. So now if you think about it logically, if you're going from the weakest to the strongest, we're above overnight value. What's the probability of us maintaining that higher, right? And what's the next logical target that we have? It's the 800s, first of all, and then also its previous weak value area high. And then again, we did break above previous day value area high, right? Just because we're above previous day value area high, this could be just like one strong momentum move up, and then we could come back and retest this and then continue. Or we could come back and then fail here and then do a Dalton trade. Right. But in the event that like something like that happens, right? Are we in a position in which we can say, okay, we can accept the risk because where our stop is not at an emotional level, right? Our stop is not an emotional level. Our stop is at a structural point, right? Our stop is at a structural level, right? Essentially, basically. But yeah, but now that our point of control has shifted higher, I can see this coming back to come and retest this again because we've seen this a lot of times. We've seen this several times, right? And our initial balance is right here. So how we react around initial balance? Do we get a strong break? Do we fail here around 790.50? So we are gonna have to watch the time in sales, right? Top and bottom, right? And I have to watch the time in sales over here to see what's being let go of, as in like what's being printed in a weak way. Yeah. And then like in a weak way, I mean like see like these 788, these 88.75s, right? Are not these are not moving the market. What's moving the market is the highlighted one. So like your 80, like that 89.25, basically big blocks of green are moving the market higher, big blocks of red are moving the market lower. Right. So so we get to see like the effort, also just like watching how this picks up speed of tape. Right, so that's not even initial. This isn't initial balance yet. Still have 30 more seconds. But this is your new IBH. All right, so 79.1. What's this? 91.25 is IBH now. So let's see what happens the next. I guess in the next, yeah, well, that's locked in. Okay, so initial balance high. What do we do around that? This is the beginning of our C prints, right? So, and by right, we could move our stop to 780. Yeah. Move our stop to 780 because again, if we start reversing, if we start going lower than this, the trend is dead. I'm trying to ride this trend. Right. So but as I was saying, the invalidation point of the trade is the previous week point of control. All right, invalidation point would be the overnight value area low, right? Any one of these two. But this would be the first place where I would say, okay, the trend is not valid. The trade is not valid anymore because what we're targeting is previous week point of control, previous week value area high. And now we're trading towards the fair value of the previous week. Right, so. On the night of January 30, 1985. 36 years later, their families are still. Okay, IB 1975. I don't have any big prints above initial balance, right? A big prints I'm talking about over here on the time and sales. We need to see like anything above 91.25. Yeah. The families of those who disappeared are still looking And also, as I was saying, I could be like, oh, okay, cool. Let me put in another position here. Right. Let me put in another contract, and add on to the trade. Okay, here we go. 93.25, 146. So that's pretty, that's intent, right? 93.25. But again, we start seeing red prints below IB, then that could be the beginning of weakness. Also, another thing that I would like to see is I would like to see this value area high shift above and outside the initial balance. But yeah, if we are to make, just saying, if we are to make like where we put our stop rate has to be structural, as I was saying. Right? It always has to be structural, regardless of like this is an uncomfortable situation for me because it's uncomfortable in the sense that like I am trying to build the buffer on this account. I'm build the buffer. I'm not there yet. I'm trying to get out of drawdown, right? So as I'm trying to get out of drawdown, the reality of it is that $105, that's $105 better than the account was when I got into the trading session. So I could close out of the positions right now, right? But closing out of the positions right now would be an emotional decision, right? More than it would be a trading one, So until it gets to a point where I start seeing structural weakness from the tools that I'm using, right? So what would be structural weakness? Well, for example, this is a buying tail, right? We're buying tails on the A's, cool. And the B's printed higher, and now we're in the C prints, right? Structural weakness would be us printing below the B's, below this last B, right? Basically printing in the 70s. That would be structural weakness, Then that would give me causality and reason to go, okay, cool, maybe then I shouldn't be in this trade anymore, right? But it would be giving me clues. The stop is structural and not emotional. Like I don't want to lose money either. I could move the stops all the way up to break even. But then if I do that, if I move the stop break even, and then we do come and then we, right now we're at VWAP, right? Right now our entry is at VWAP. So if price comes back and retests VWAP and then continues going higher, we've lost the trading day. And lost the trading day not as in like lost money, but I'm just saying like the hours have passed, the time has passed, the amount of time spent preparing for the day have gone. So that in itself is also a resource that I also need to manage, right? And that I also need to ensure I do get some form of return on, right? So the structural invalidation point is the point of control. Like from here, if we do, this is so that we don't blow the account. This is so that we don't lose more money than we have to. But it is structural. We would have rotated back inside overnight value area high, and then we would have failed at overnight point of control. So. See, we did print below 91.25, right? 90.75, 114 accumulated at 90.75, right? And that's around the developing value area high. So, okay, 91.25, 91.50, 75 again. Perhaps maybe if we want to get into a position where we do lock in profits and we don't, you know, I say don't lose money, but I mean, ultimately, if we did just want to close the day profitable, depending on how these C prints print, if we do continue this trend, then we could place our stop below that last C. Right? So we could place our stop at 789. You know, or place our stop right at IB. Right. But again, placing a stop at IB, that's not structural. Placing an entry at initial balance would be structural. Targeting initial balance would be structural. You know, but placing it right on IB wouldn't be. Right. Placing below the bottom C would be structural in the sense of, okay, well, if we start printing low, I don't want to lose any, I don't want to lose any more money than you get what I'm trying to say? It makes sense, yeah. But yeah, here we go. Value area high, printed finally above initial balance. And part of our 70% is now above the initial balance high. Our 100% is almost at previous week previous week value area high. So 50-50 on that one. Some nice little mean reversion from value area high to point of control. Mean reversion, quite literally meaning reverting to the mean, right? And the mean being the point of control. The mean being fair value, right? The mean being where the most amount of trade is being facilitated. But yeah, it's time to be smart here because we are inside IB again. So if we start seeing weakness, $91.25, $91.25. I'm just watching the time in sales over here, just in case you're wondering what I'm staring at. $91.50, $91.25 again. I guess the most important thing to see or to watch right now would be if we can print above 92.50. So if we start printing 92.50s, 93s, you know, the 91s not really it's not really encouraging. It's starting to look like there are participants trying to short this. Okay, 92s. They need to break above 92.50. 91.75 again. 91s, 9075. Just a patience game right now, I guess. Ow. 91, 9075. Obviously, you don't want to see this coming back to VWAP. Okay, here we go, 92s. 9250s, value area high. Now I need to see a strong push above 9250. So 9250, that's our value area high. And then we have our initial balance here. So we need a break above this so we can confirm that there is intent to take this higher, you know. But if we fail here, then we're gonna mean revert, you know. And if we start mean reverting from the overnight, from the point of control, it is gonna be towards VWAP, unfortunately. So we need to see strength at IB right now and weakness, you know. So strength at the bottom, weakness at the top. 9225s, 250s, and then a print here, you know, something big around here. $250s, that was value area high. 93s. Kind of. Yo, why did it freeze for that long? Yeah, 9175. Lots of like selling there that didn't go anywhere. Let's see if that continues. Same thing with the 250s. Lots of selling, as you can see. It's not really going anywhere. Those are long prints also. Yeah, someone thinks they're smart, trying to disguise it. Found you. Or like in microsecond increments also. So there we go. Big print above the value area high. Not really that massive, but I mean, we'll take it. It's the biggest one since, yeah, we'll take it. We'll accept it. That's much better, 94. Yeah, we could do, you know, we could actually hit 800 in reverse. Let's watch it though. Would like to see us do that, but $141 and 95, 95.25. Massive buying. See how much, see what CVD did there. Big buying. Big boy stepped in there. And someone's trying to short it, of course. Had to buy from someone. I've had so much coffee today. I want to go to the bathroom again, but I don't want to get up and then we do the 800s in reverse and I can't do something about it. And here we go. There's delta shift into positive. Oh, look at that. Beauty. 97, 97.50. Yeah, but 97.50 and we're at 95 is also just watch the speed of the tape as well. Let me show you how much intent, excitement, emotion is in the market. Let's have a look at the composite. Yeah, this is like also another value area high, right? This is from when? When was the 5th? God damn it. 5th was on Wednesday. Piece of it. My little sister's traveling, so she had I think she just had some chicken in, which is the equivalent of KFC now here. Oh, it's not the equivalent, it's just the fast food chain. So that's what that was about. So yeah, so this value area high that we're at is from Wednesday. You know, so how significant is Wednesday's price action going to be today? But yeah, big seller at 96.75. Yeah. So let's wait him out. 96.50. Yeah, I see, like really absorbing the orders. So they came in 96.50s. Okay, 96.75 finally. Yeah, still there. 95.75. Okay, here's another push. 96, 96, 96.25. 96, 95.75. 95.50. Yeah. Should have known. Let's wait him out though. So I mean, as long as we're also outside IB above value area high. Definitely don't want to start printing in 80s. $94.75. Of course, there would be someone who doesn't want this to get into the 800s, right? Of course. Also, boys, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I do think it makes sense for us to get out at 800 because how many people are gonna get out at 800? How many of these buyers are gonna get out at 800? Or maybe even getting out now because they know people are gonna get out at 800. You know, this person might be one of them. Because it might not necessarily be a thing of like they're selling because they're trying to get the market lower. Maybe they're just selling to get out of the market. Maybe. Who am I? I'm just a man on the other side of the market. It's a movie reference. 9250s again. 275. Value area high did move, eh? Yeah, value area high is now at 93. So right into initial balance. Strong selling. I guess there is like a really strong. I guess that seller was like super strong, eh? This guy, whoever's here, 9675. I guess that is also the day we did set those highs, right? That is the day we set ATH. Okay. VWAP all the way here at 83. Man, ain't that a bitch? Yo, massive selling, boss. Look at this. Yeah, I think we missed our signal here. Here we go. Back all the way down to overnight value. Hey, it took us almost an hour to get from here to the top of that, and then 8 minutes to get back to it. So that kind of sucks. Yeah. Three Prince, boss. As we maintain this, we're good. I think. When I say we're good, because this very easily could come to the other side of value. Mr. Market, just because I said you could do it very easily does not mean that I want you to do it right now. Yeah. You see what I was saying about the 800s? When I say like, yeah, I think we should get out of the 800s because a lot of people are going to want to get out of the 800. And I'm pretty sure whomever, other people who are in like this long, like whoever was in this long, okay, like for sure. Let's look at it. If you're in the long from here, your stop probably went here, right? You just got taken out. If you're long from initial balance, your stop probably went here. You were taken out here. You know, so longs from initial balance got taken out probably around about here with this candle here. You know, probably. But yeah, what happened to the strength of the buyers, bro? Just went just got completely taken out. I don't know if they can remontada. Overnight value has to hold, boys. Overnight value does have to hold. 84.50s, 84.25s, 85.25s. 85, 84s. Look at the accumulated orders at 86.75, 116. 114 at 85.25. They didn't move this low. But yeah, that's the mean reversion, so also known as the Tyson trade. Got that from someone else. Initial balance to VWAP. We're back to 50-50 on this. Yeah, really back to 50-50 on this. I don't know if we still have the momentum of the buyers. I don't know if these buyers are still interested in this trend. But look, here we go. Well, deep prints will let us know. Tut tut tut. There's your retest of VWAP finally. 83.50. Boys, how do we go from green to red in 13 minutes? But yeah, these are deep prints. Yeah, we're already kind of in danger, man. I'm not gonna lie. Because look at this, we're printing below the C prints now. So what's the next target? Probably the A's, right? Previous day value area high. If this can't hold, yeah. If this can't hold, then yeah, I'm probably gonna Dalton from there. Hectic. The validity of our trade and validity. I mean, the success of our trade is gonna be determined by how well we can hold outside of previous day value. Because if we do start accepting inside previous day value, then that's gonna be a target. Then that's gonna be a target for sure. But here we go back to VWAP. Does VWAP turn into resistance or do we break through it?
stumbling block.
One sec, please.
Others believe in God.
Yo.
Who's the idea? Saying Zimbabwe had efficient, including civil police to handle any internal problems.
Yeah, look, man, I ain't gonna lie. We are kind of in coin toss territory right now. This could work or this could not. Overnight value area high here just showed some weakness. Did sell that, at least on this first attempt. So,
Officials believe that they always had this idea long before.
But yeah, buyers dipped in at 84.75, 84.75. Then we did see a little weakness. So I mean, we are starting to see some weakness from the buyers around around a critical level, point of control, overnight value area high. So it is as I'm saying it, we are kind of around coin toss territory. Trade idea still is valid as long as I said, as long as we stay outside of previous day value. If we can break above overnight value, even better. That is what then gives us like the full confidence. But if we keep failing around here, not a fantastic trading day, but we have to make sure we don't make it a bad one. So here we go, 86.25. Yeah, again, 199, 199, 96, 95. Does it make sense that we are trading around the TPOC? It does. But still, if we are gonna trade higher, I guess like we had to start printing above the C's. So yeah, and now we're below overnight, not overnight, but the developing point of control, right? So point of control, view app, and previous day value area high, like this area basically. Let me throw on a rectangle. So this area, this is what we basically, we need to trade above this, right, for us to be fine. We need to get out of this. This is our danger zone.
To hold on going to integration, but then the Amazon it. So those are the units that we picked to go and for fabricate part of them. The new unit made its intentions clear even during training. They were linked to the.
But I did say before we got on. I did say when we were on. Hold on 1 second. I'm saying I did say when we got. Let me make sure the camera is back on me. There we go. Yeah, I'm saying I did say at 16:15, right? Where were we? I did say around about here that what we would have to consider is the possibility that we get to IB and that we revert, right? And whether we'd accept this as our risk, as our loss parameter. And so now we are in that territory. Was it valid to let it run during that time? I think so. I think so. You do need to put on the risk, right? Otherwise, then it's not really trading, is it? But as I'm saying, like, we're just gonna have to accept the loss if it turns out like that. But this is our danger zone right now. We need to start trading above this. And just above this, what we have is the overnight value area high, which is showing weakness, you know, which has shown some weakness several times now. But what's kind of giving me a little hope is that we have seen attempts around that level, right? So 84, again, you know, buyers to step in there. 80, yeah, 84.50, 84.75. We did see some buying attempts. So like it didn't, the market didn't go high. But there were buyers who stepped in there. So I'm saying coin toss territory. But for sure, we accept inside previous day value. I don't know how to tell it. I don't know what to say to you. But yeah, we did also spot weakness there at the top, right? As I was saying, like close to the 800s. Of course, people would start thinking like, I'm gonna start getting out here because you are gonna, you would expect people to start selling, So I don't really have like deep enough level 2 data for us to be able to see on a DOM, what type of orders we have here. But I bet you there's like a lot of sell orders here. There are a lot of sell orders here, so you know what I mean. So let's give it a little more time. Let's give it a little more time. As much as we haven't completely broken out of overnight value, right? As much as we're still inside overnight value, we also didn't accept inside previous day value yet. So I'm saying coin toss. Again, the way we're letting go of these 84s, for this 84.25, 84.50. Again, here we go again. 84.75s, 475s, 85s, 84.50, 450, 450, 425s, 4s. View app 84, 375s. And once we're walking to some place, they gave instructions to the effect that they should create weapons. Yeah, you see that 55 at 84 as well, So there is like some intent from the buyers. CBD is not really giving us much as far as like information is concerned. That's a lot better. There you go. Overnight value, can we break above it and close clean? There we go. Better. Do not wick. Yeah, see, that's a much cleaner break, so out of the danger zone for now. That was not fun. Mm. 775s. No, it's the sellers trying to bring this lower, but with no real success. Or did I speak too soon? 87. Okay, let this retest work out. Retest of overnight value area high. Does that turn into support now? 8650.
When to stay into the allocated villages with the people there, waiting to be armed and waiting to be given instructions about their crossing into South Africa. And it was decided that there should be weapons which must be cached so that they will be armed with those weapons. That was the cache. So it had been done. He was found guilty on cashing those weapons.
525s, 550s.
Agreed that yes, there were those weapons, but did not connect the ANC.
We do need to, yeah, I mean, we need to maintain price above that point of control, yeah?
And we did not want to jeopardize the ANC, the MK corporates within the country.
What does this look like on a 5-minute, actually? Let's have a look.
Because
Yeah, I mean, not bad. Doesn't look bad on a 5-minute. Never mind. That candle was crazy though. Let's see how we close this. I think if we can close it, if we can close this 5-minute candle above overnight value, I would be a little more comfortable. You know. I will be a little more comfortable. Hectic documentary going on in the background.
What we were supposed to do, which we had done, was to add.
Not a close right on the point of control. I mean, right on overnight value.
Was supporting the ANC with his own activity, but the military activity remained with us. What you should know, and the people should know, South Africa had no chance of approaching the ANC because we had given them houses here. Because the language was so good for them, they could not identify them. Maybe if you look at the houses,
8650. Yeah, I think. Look, I think break into the 90s. Just need to see. Just need to watch again what we do around initial balance, right? Let me get the camera. Let me get the. My hands looking man. I ain't gonna pay my bills though. I ain't gonna pay these bills. I need to pay my automobiles, pay my telephone bills. What other bills are this girl saying about? You want you. Mhm, 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 mhm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Oh, can you pay my telephone bills? Pay my automobiles?
basebenzise izithuba leziyana ey'banikezona bephakathi kwelizwe leli baze
Ah,
ngalama-traders echapha kwelibhoko
yeah, switching in between time zones, really, I guess to get like an overlook, like a bigger overview of like a higher time frame analysis, but this is the higher time frame analysis. If you really want one, here's your 30-minute chart, right? Open, open, you know, 30-minute open, 30-minute close, 30-minute open, 30-minute close, 30-minute open, 30-minute close. All right. So we opened here, printed there, came back closed here. All right. Opened here. This is where price is at now. You know. So that's your high time frame. If you're really, really, really thirsty to see what the macro looks like, that's what the macro looks like. And then even bigger analysis. Yeah. Yeah, man. Look, I don't know. I don't know about previous week value area high anymore, to be honest. I ain't even trying to lie to you. I don't know if we can do that. You know, we are creating a bit of a trend. We have been over the last 3 days, right? Yeah. I don't know. We did have our expansion from A's to C's, you know. As to whether we challenge that top letter or the bottom letter, but we're still here to figure out. By challenge, I mean like retest. Do we come back and retest at 96? Believe it is 96.25, 97. You know, or does that become a selling tail? Does this become a selling tail, basically? You know. So. I'm telling you. This is yes, I'm gonna show some weakness towards the end, man. Not a huge fan of that. Yeah, so look, failed break above overnight value area highs, so it is leaning a little more bearish, right? What are, you know, I guess what's going to determine how the rest of this trade goes, as I said, is how we react around the previous day value area high. If we start accepting inside value, and by accepting inside value, I'm saying like if we come back, start trading below the previous day value area high, like slightly below is not bad. But if we get to the previous day point of control and we start trading below the previous day point of control, then that is acceptance of value, right? Acceptance of value, then it wouldn't be far-fetched for you to expect this trade to go all the way down to previous day value area low. I don't know. Of course, we do have measures in place, right? So that if it does want to come all the way down here, we don't lose money in that entire move, you know. But previously at the open, well, closer towards earlier on, so I'll say at the open, but earlier on in the session, we did find support around the overnight point of control, which we haven't tested since 9:52. We've had two tests of previous day value area high, right? Around about 5, and now towards the end of the D print, so maybe this holds as maybe this holds as support. Again, it's a maybe. It's not a this will hold because we've tested it once and we've tested it twice, and could very easily break through when we start getting our e-prints, which are about to come in now. So, but I would like to see this push a little higher. If we can close out D prints above the point of control, that would be fantastic. Here's what your 5-minute candle looks like. Neutral candle, came printed lower. Let's watch it since this is like the last odd 30 seconds. But yeah, we definitely for sure to see us home and to see us through, we need e-prints outside of overnight value. Okay, here we go.
They consisted of 2 Americans, 2 Britons, and 2 Australians. Gilbert Sijenamwenya, 44, and Austin Bofu, 27, were arrested and charged with the kidnapping of the tourists. They were convicted and sentenced to death. The 2 were hanged at Central Prison on Tuesday, 7 April 1980.
Yeah, so as I'm saying, look, we need to see these e-prints. We need to see e-prints above 786. All right. So above 786, above overnight value area high, above the point of control. Yeah. So basically, we need to start printing above the point of control. Okay. That's the tail of the tape. There's nothing more we can do at this point, but just hold it. As I said, our stop is where our stop is. Yeah. Our stop is where our stop is. So that gets us, or we get that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Ain't much more to it. Give me a sec, guys. Yeah, look, again, previous day value area high. I think this is going to give, if this does give, it's just going to be value area low. And we start accepting below value area low, that is going to be price discovery below that, right? So, I guess the only, let me unlock these drawings. Yeah, well, you already got that retest. Let's have a cleaner look at the chart. But yeah, as I was gonna say, the retest would be previous, not previous, but the developing volume profiles, value area low. Acceptance below that would then mean a retest of the point of control, a previous day point of control. Right, so still we haven't had any acceptance inside. We haven't accepted inside yesterday's value, not yet at least. But this is starting to look like a counter trend, right? Starting to look like the opposite of what we wanted initially. Yeah, we wanted to see these D and E prints start printing from the C's, right? Like we had on Tuesday, I think. But yeah, at this point we're holding for one of two things. We're either holding for TP, or at least like the highs or 800s. I think 800s is a smarter exit right now. Yeah. As I'm saying, 800s would be a smarter exit. 802s, 801s, 800 flat. Yeah, it's that or the stop. That's where we that's the tail of the tape right now. I would, I would prefer a test of previous day point of control, and then we know now if we have support, if there's support there, I would want to see that, we come, even though, yeah, like it would mean a little more drawdown, but we are in drawdown already. But I would like to see a retest of this, and then, absorption of the sellers for us to continue higher, so we come here, fail to break lower, and then continue higher. It does also run the risk of we get there, and then yesterday's fair value is a lot, and so point of control, and then previous week point of control. So yeah. Also, what is the difference between putting our stop at the previous week point of control and putting our stop at the overnight value area low? Well, if this gives, this is gonna go, right? So it's kind of putting an extra $20 into the trade, which we don't have to do, right? Like those small numbers add up, you know what I mean? Especially over time. You take a little loss, you take like $100 loss, but you add $20 on top of it. You do that 5 times, you've added $100 on top of a $600 loss, on top of a $500 loss, right? So closing the week at $500 becomes closing the week at 600. So You know what I mean? So no real difference. And yes, we could come here and retest, and but we would have lost the trade still. You know, it just starts creating. You just start creating bad habits of like opening up your SL, your stop loss. But yeah, definitely could have done a better job, I guess, at managing this move. You know, especially since we did see it in the time in sales, right? It's not like we were oblivious. It's not like it took us by surprise. You know, we did see it, we did read it, we did call it. You know, we just didn't act quick enough to get out of the trade at that point. You know, so that is something that is gonna need some work. You know, we're gonna need to work on that over time. It's not gonna be just because I spotted it doesn't mean that I'm gonna be good at it immediately. It doesn't mean that I'm gonna be good at it in like 2 days. But over time, you know, over time, if I uh, if I start, the more I start looking, the more I look at the tape, the more I read the tape, the more I notice things on the tape, you know, that's gonna compound. So maybe I'm not gonna be great at it in like 30 days, or maybe not in a month, or maybe not in 3 months, not in 6 months, but how I read the tape in 6 months, like 6 months from today, is gonna be a lot different than how I'm currently seeing things develop on the time and sales. You know, so just one of those things where you just have to accept that it's gonna take time. You know, um, for example, let me show you this again whilst this develops. Like creating this this pre-session decision tool, right? I couldn't have done this on my first trade. You know, I couldn't have done this on my first trade because all of these stats needed, you know, required 82 trades. So from June 1 to August 7, that's 82 trades. That's not inclusive of the journal from the 22nd of April, right? But when I started, you know, okay, I did do this. Yeah. But from when I started actively keeping track of the trades and journaling the trades and all of that, you know, that's how then I could then create like these tools of just like even knowing that like, okay, cool, I can take overnight point of control trades. You know, I can go long from overnight point of control. I can go long from previous day point of control. Don't do the overnight value area high short on inside days. Don't long or short overnight value area low ever. You know, knowing my Dalton trades, how those work out, you know, all of that needed time, which is, I guess, is another factor that I didn't quite appreciate when I started. You know, I didn't appreciate how much staying in the game long enough was going to be beneficial. You know, so I'd go through challenge accounts really quickly. You know, like be done or I've blown up in like a week or I've blown up in 2 weeks. You know, and then I kind of just like decided like let me like really lock in and gather things that are going to help. You know, knowing a setup and trading a setup is one thing, but then tracking how you're winning setups and how often you take losing setups, you know, and this isn't even like conclusive, you know. This is like 82. This is only 82 trades. I'm not even at 100 yet. So, you know, once we get into, once we've done 100 of these trades, you know, once we've done 100, then we'll have more. Once we've done 200, then like this, yeah, the data is going to be a lot more comprehensive, right? It's going to be a lot fuller, you know. Yeah, chicken's going crazy. Sounds delicious though. Mm-mm-mm. Hot sauce on mine. So yes, that's what I'm just trying to share, right? That like data and stats, like the more, you know, when I made the decision that like, yeah, you know, I'm done like blowing accounts in like a week. I'm done being done with like my sorry, chickens throwing me off. Tapos good sila nga. Hi. Hi. Sangwe. Hello. Hi. Hindi ko sungil sila nga. So yeah, I guess this one what I'm trying to illustrate and what I was trying to say. McDonald had a farm is that like time, you know, just like having time, you know, just having time in the market, time spent taking trades, time spent watching price action, and you can learn how these tools work in a week. You know, if you're dedicated, you can learn how these tools work in a day. But then knowing how the tool works and knowing, you know, I could tell you, I could send you this stuff, I could send you all these, like this entire playbook. You could take screenshots of this if you wanted to. You know, you could pause the video and take screenshots of all of this. But then these are like my stats, you know. Because someone else, their overnight value area low trades work better for them, you know, and maybe their overnight point of control trades are not trades that they take. You know, I have watched people's streams where they say like they don't trade from overnight point of control or previous day point of control, but it works for me and my trading style, you know. So, and I also don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? I don't have to reinvent the wheel. If I can just be like 1% better with each trading session, yeah, with each trading session would be crazy. But I mean, if I can be 1% better every month, you know. So, what improvements have I made this month in comparison to my performance in July? And then again, going into September, it's going to be the same thing, you know. Like, have I made a 1% improvement? What 1% improvement am I going to look for in September that's going to make my performance in September better than my performance in August? Right? Is there something that's reoccurring or that has been reoccurring over the last 3 months of collected data that I can look at and read and then, you know, figure out how to improve? And I don't have to do that myself. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a genius. I am a bit of a genius, but I'm not a scientist. I'm not, you know, but there are tools that can help you, you know. So if I can use free AI tools, and I used Claude to create this. So if there are tools that can help me and that can analyze my data quicker, then why not? Right? Then why not use them? Why not use the tools that are available? You know, essentially is basically what I'm getting at. So we're not quite out, we're not out the snare yet, man. I mean, point of control. You need to trade above the point of control. We need to break outside of overnight value. You know, we did find support at the value area low. It is so. Does that mean we trade all the way back up to value area high? We could, right? or it could just be a mean reversion to the VWAP, and then we break through value area high. Yeah. But regardless of whatever happens in the trading day, whether I take a loss, whether I win a trade, the one thing that remains, one thing that I'll always gather is I'll always gather information, and data. I'll gather data, and then with that data, then we'll synthesize it, and then we'll synthesize it and we'll create some information. We'll have information. And also why I record and why I trade on YouTube. I'm not trading on, at first, yeah, like there was a bit of a, I did want to create like education, that could be monetized at some point, right? But after my first week, I had to then think about what was more important to me, is educating a bunch of people that I really don't know on the internet, and I've never met. Is educating people on the internet more important than me being profitable? And I choose to be profitable. Like, it's great that you guys are here and watching the videos and supporting the channel. I appreciate you and I see you. But at the same time, my trading performance is more important to me than you getting any knowledge, right? But if you getting knowledge or you learning something from watching how I data collect benefits you, then great, then I'm happy for you, and I'm happy you're here. And I'm happy that I'm giving you value at the same time. But the purpose of me doing this and the purpose of me recording these trades is so that I can, at the end of a trading day, especially like on a day like this, where I saw something on the time and sales, or we saw something on the time and sales here, 448. And actually scroll and see it. Right, we saw this on the time and sales, 129 at 796, and we did say, right, around about this point, that's when I was considering getting out at 800. And the reason why I was like, well, probably, if I'm thinking like that, there are a lot of other people who are also thinking of getting out at the 800s, right? And if they're going to get out at the 800s, if you're buying, if you bought in, the way you get out is you sell. So I did expect there to be some selling at the 800s. Instead, it came earlier, and we saw it on the time and sales, right? The next time we got a big print on the TNS was at 87s, right? So that's like a 9-point difference. And this was only like 5 minutes later, right? So, so round about here, which was kind of a top, right? So 95.25, 97, 97.50, big 96.75, 129. Could have put our stop at 95.25 because again, we saw there were accumulated orders, 121. All right, so that possibly could have been a place where we were like, yeah, okay, cool. All right, we'll get out maybe around about here. But I'm saying this in hindsight just by looking at the time in sales, right? I need to go and watch the video. I'll go and watch this video when it's done. When we're done with the live, I'll go back and then I'll watch the YouTube video, and I'll watch it. I'll scroll to that point, to the point where this is what was happening. And then I'll look at the time in sales, and I'll pause and I'll look at everything else. I'll look at the CVD, look at the prints that we're printing at the bottom, look at the TPOs. I'll look at everything. And then, I'll learn something from that, hopefully. So that's why I'm trading live. So yeah. Above overnight value. Yeah. So do need to still need to stay above overnight value. It could just be a thing of like we're just getting some liquidity, sweeping some highs, and then full move lower. But now we are outside of overnight value. The things that I spoke about earlier have kind of played out, right? It did say, if we start accepting inside previous day value, then the chances of us going lower become increased, right? But we retested previous day value area high, failed to break through, and then came deeper into previous day value, right? Well, lower than previous day value area high, didn't test the point of control, found supported value area low, and then this is the up move, right? Tested it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and then we made the move up, right? Still didn't mean that we were out of the water at that point, right? The next thing is we had to make sure that we actually stayed above previous day value, which we've done. So that's one. And then the next thing, I guess, like you could consider the VWAP, right? Do we buy or sell the VWAP, of which, we sold it first and then VWAP has turned into support. Where it was resistance has turned into support now. And then the point of control, again, that was important, right? Breaking above the point of control. Of course, now the next place where we could find a level of resistance would be value area high, right? So value area low, value area high. But what we're going to watch now is we're going to watch overnight value, right? We do need to stay above overnight value, right? Maintaining price above overnight value, right, does give us the confirmation that like, finally we've broken out of that value area and that we could maybe be in another leg of price discovery, right? And then we're going to watch to see if we do the same thing at value area high, right? So again, we're just going to watch the tape. Same thing, nothing's changed. Just going to watch the tape, watch the CVD, watch the TPOs. Pretty D-shaped now. Fives wouldn't be great, but it would make sense. Right? Because we could, if you know the PBD model, see if I can show you. This would be a D, right? This is the D. If you look at the letter D, even distributions, right? That's not a good looking P. Neither is that one. So double this. Okay. And then this would be like a P, right? The sense of it's thin at the bottom and then you have there. So that's a P. And then the D would be the inverse of this. Beyond this top bit would be on the other side. So something like this. This is kind of like a double distribution, for to keep it honest, for to keep it a buck. But 788, 434 orders at 788. So that's what we're going to be watching here on the prints, on the time and sale at the bottom. The speed of the orders that come in, right? And what types of orders come in. 89.25, 257 accumulated. I just don't like the fact that they're not really moving price. They're not solid like this. But the time and sales is moving. And the CVD is also printing up, so. Yeah, this could reverse again because look at this. 89.25s, but like these were big orders, but didn't really move it much, did it? So a lot of intent by so a lot of like big buy orders, right? How we determine whether they move the market or not is by the the types of how they are highlighted. So highlighted in green like this, like these solid blocks like that, that's when we know, okay, cool. 54 orders came in at 92.5 and those orders moved the market higher. Yeah. 91.50. Just watch this now. 92.5. $92.5 is good. $90.75. That's our initial balance. $91.25. $90.50. CVD is kind of picking up. There we go. Is that a retest? See, that's initial balance. What do you do here? $157 accumulated at 91. Again, the same type of print, you know what I'm saying, as these 89.25. So that is kind of showing us a little bit of weakness. These highs are still there, and the 800s are still up here. So how long have we been in this for? A long time. CUD's picking up again. He's trying to. See, all these 89.25s, a lot of selling this happening here. But again, you see, it's not moving the market lower. So as long as you're getting red prints like this, I'm all right with it. Not these types. But just to make a mental note of it, our 791s didn't print solid, yeah?
Consider what could have been achieved by those who died, what could have been discovered, written, and invented. What is clear is that the poverty being traced by the people of Madagascar today can be traced to Kora only. While we've always talked about the loss of life, we should also not forget the economic loss. People's properties were looted during Kora only.
88.50. Here we go, 89s. Small 89. Small 89 action there. Oof. Yeah, and 87 is printing massive. There's 74. And there's a buyer absorbing this. He sells, yeah, at 87. Let's see how successful they are. How I came to that conclusion is that like 87.25, 53 orders, 87s, 74 orders there, right? So massive intention at 87 to get this lower, but then price bounced back up, so and until we start printing below 87s, then my assumption is that there's a buyer absorbing those sales. Here we go, 87, 191 accumulated at 87. So the inverse of this 91. So 87s and 91s. Again, 87s, 409 accumulated. Mm. $750s, 88s. Massive selling there at 87.25. Yeah, 409 accumulated orders at 87. So clearly, we're having some seller absorption there. Yeah? Let's also just look at that cell delta on the CVD. Look back in the 86s again. So '86 is still the same thing, pretty much the same thing as it was hours ago, right? As it was at 10. Yeah. It's about maintaining price above the overnight value, That's what we need to do. We do have the overnight point of control as well as, I guess, as a coupling mechanism. Not that like the two are connected, but it does make this a very significant level right now. It does make this a very significant level. It was before, but now that our point of control is there as well. 71 and 86. Okay. I need to go handle something, boys. Give me a second. Mic's gonna go off. Mic's gonna go off. Camera's gonna go off. Yo, boys. Oh no, I'm here. My bad, y'all. I had to go take care of a little errand. Yeah, we still here, man. I guess I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one. It is a bit of a weird one. We did have that rally to value. Well, it was more so to initial balance, right? So we did trade up to initial balance, and then mean reverted back to VWAP. So we could be in some chop. We could be in some chop, or you know, or we break out one of these. We break out below value area high, or we break above. We break below value area high, or we break above value area high. Did I say the same thing? We break below value area lower, or we break above value area higher. Right. So it is. Yeah, I've been on here for 3 hours. I don't like being on stream for longer than yeah, I don't like being on stream this long. I hate being in a trade. Well, never mind then. Well, GG's, good game. Man, when I was still even saying I don't like being in a trade longer than I have to, etc., etc. But yeah, this is my little doing some work outside thing. That is annoying though. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know whether that was a news event or what. Could it have been? Don't think so. Not Forex Factory. But yeah, I guess I got. Of course. No way, boy. Nah, this doesn't even count. This doesn't even count in the stats, bro. I mean, it counts as a loss, but uh, that's a Trump tweet. I am likewise demanding compensation from Iran. Instructed my representatives to put this firmly into any and all future negotiations. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like yeah, I feel like we got Trump tweeted out of that trade, bro. So what can you do? You know, what can you actually do? So um our risk was small. Yeah, 118. 118 is not bad. But yeah, I do think
humiliating.
this 448 runabout this time, we really could have got out of our position. Let's just lock this now.
When they were called by the inside and they were told to was that syndrome.
Um,
And one said,
yeah,
call themselves
maybe 448, 97s roundabout here. Maybe we could have considered our exit. Of course, again, it's just one of those things where, in hindsight, everything sounds valid, right? In hindsight, everything is valid in hindsight. I bet we're gonna do that move. Initial balance, break these highs, break into the 800s. So, you know, I'm also not mad at where we put our stop. You know, had we put it here, we would have lost more money. Maybe had we put it, there was no way I would have put the stop here, because that would have been 100 and what, 100 and yeah, that would have been an extra $110 on the trade. So on yeah, on the risk size. So yeah, man. I think we did everything that we could today. Target was valid. Target was previous week value area high. It was away, and maybe if we had, you know, maybe if we just waited, been a little patient, and waited for the overnight point of control, we could have gotten there in 772, and then gotten at 777s, and yeah, you know. But our average position, you know, and maybe also again, we'll probably, I don't think we're gonna enter again. Yeah, so. Alright, dog. Okay, Sarah. As per usual, this is gonna go on to Substack. So if you wanna read up on that trade, you're more than willing. You're more than welcome to. Yeah, so much work to do here. And yeah, I'm also seeing, you know, just kind of as I'd noticed a little later, this value area high, which is Wednesday's value area high, also could have been an exit. You know, seeing as it was unmitigated and as well, you know. So yeah, well, you learn something every day. Expensive lessons though, but you learn something every day. Hold on. Also, what's funny is it was right at the moment when I was saying, like, I don't like being in 3-hour trades. I wasn't gonna close the trade, but I was just gonna stop the stream and then be about my day, you know. So look at that. Anyway, yeah. All right, that's gonna be it for me. I'll catch you tomorrow, same time. Catch you tomorrow, same time. Yeah. Peace.